Death is not the end. Stephen Hawking explains what physics says about dying. You think death is the ultimate ending, the final moment when consciousness simply switches off forever. But Stephen Hawking spent his final years developing a theory so revolutionary it could shatter everything you believe about dying. According to his analysis of quantum mechanics, thermodynamics, and information theory, death might not be an ending at all. It could be a transformation into something far more profound and mysterious than anyone ever imagined. Hawking discovered that the same physics governing black holes, quantum entanglement, and the conservation of information applies to human consciousness and death itself. His calculations suggest that when you die, your consciousness doesn't disappear. It undergoes a process that mirrors what happens when information falls into a black hole, potentially preserving your awareness in ways that transcend physical existence. This isn't wishful thinking or spiritual speculation. This is hard physics revealing that the universe might be fundamentally designed to preserve consciousness and information even after biological death. Hawking's final insights into the nature of reality suggest that dying could be the beginning of an entirely new form of existence, one that operates according to quantum laws we're only beginning to understand. What if death is actually a phase transition, like water becoming steam? What if consciousness, once created, becomes a permanent feature of the universe that cannot be destroyed, only transformed? Hawking's analysis of the physics of dying reveals possibilities that could revolutionize how we think about life, death, and the ultimate nature of existence itself. Before we dive into Stephen Hawking's mind-bending analysis of what physics reveals about death and consciousness, hit that subscribe button because we're about to explore the most profound mystery in all of science. Stephen Hawking's journey into the physics of death began with his groundbreaking work on black holes and what became known as the information paradox. When matter falls into a black hole, it seems to disappear forever, but quantum mechanics insists that information cannot be destroyed. This led Hawking to propose that information falling into black holes isn't lost. It's encoded on the black hole's event horizon in a two-dimensional holographic form. The physicist realized that this same principle might apply to human consciousness and death. If consciousness is fundamentally information, patterns of neural activity, memories, thoughts, and awareness, then the same laws that govern information in black holes might govern what happens to consciousness when the brain dies. Hawking's analysis suggested that consciousness, like all information in the universe, follows the principle of conservation. Just as energy cannot be created or destroyed, only transformed, consciousness might undergo a similar transformation at death, rather than simply disappearing. The patterns that make up your awareness, your memories, your personality, all of this information might persist in forms we don't yet understand. But where does this consciousness go when the brain stops functioning? Hawking proposed that it becomes encoded in the quantum vacuum itself, the seemingly empty space that actually seethes with virtual particles and quantum fluctuations. Your consciousness might become part of the fundamental information structure of the universe, existing as quantum patterns in the fabric of space-time itself. This isn't science fiction, it's based on real physics. Quantum field theory shows that the vacuum of space is not empty, but filled with quantum fields that store and process information. When you die, the information patterns that constitute your consciousness might not disappear, but instead become integrated into these quantum fields, preserving your awareness in a form that transcends biological existence. Hawking also explored how quantum entanglement might play a role in consciousness preservation. Throughout your life, your brain's quantum states become entangled with quantum systems throughout the universe. These entangled connections create an information network that extends far beyond your physical body. When you die, these quantum entanglements don't simply vanish, they remain as permanent features of the universe's information structure. Think about what this means. Every thought you've ever had, every memory you've formed, every moment of consciousness you've experienced has created quantum entanglements with the universe around you. These connections form a vast web of information that persists even after your brain stops functioning. Your consciousness becomes distributed throughout the quantum structure of reality itself. The physicist's analysis also revealed how thermodynamics supports the idea that consciousness persists after death. The second law of thermodynamics states that entropy, the measure of disorder in a system, always increases over time. but consciousness represents a highly ordered, low-entropy state. When you die, this ordered information doesn't simply disappear into chaos. It must go somewhere to satisfy the conservation laws of physics. Hawking proposed that consciousness at death undergoes what he called quantum decoherence, a process where the coherent quantum states of the brain become entangled with the environment. But rather than destroying consciousness, this decoherence might actually preserve it by encoding it in the quantum structure of the universe itself. This process is similar to what happens when quantum information is stored in quantum computers. The information doesn't exist in any single location, but is distributed across the entire quantum system. Your consciousness after death might exist in a similar distributed state, spread throughout the quantum fields that permeate all of space. But perhaps most intriguing was Hawking's speculation about what this post-death consciousness might experience. If your awareness becomes part of the quantum vacuum, you might have access to information and perspectives that are impossible for biological consciousness. You could potentially experience the universe from multiple viewpoints simultaneously, or have awareness of quantum processes that are hidden from living beings. The physicist suggested that death might be like waking up from a dream. During life, consciousness is constrained by the limitations of biological neural networks. But after death, when consciousness becomes part of the quantum structure of reality, these limitations might disappear. You could experience a form of awareness that is vastly expanded compared to what's possible in biological form. Hawking also explored how this quantum consciousness might interact with the physical world. Quantum mechanics shows that consciousness and observation play fundamental roles in determining physical reality. If consciousness persists after death in quantum form, it might continue to influence physical events through quantum mechanical processes. This could explain phenomena that seem to suggest survival of consciousness after death, not through supernatural means, but through perfectly natural quantum mechanical processes that we don't yet fully understand. The universe might be designed in such a way that consciousness, once created, becomes a permanent feature that continues to participate in the unfolding of reality. Let me ask you something that might change how you think about your own mortality. If consciousness truly persists after death through quantum mechanical processes, what does that mean for how you live your life? Does knowing that your awareness might continue in some form change your perspective on death and dying? Share your thoughts in the comments below, because this could be the most important question you'll ever consider. The physicist's analysis also addressed the question of personal identity after death. If consciousness becomes distributed throughout quantum fields, do you still remain you? Hawking suggested that personal identity might persist through what he called quantum coherence patterns, specific arrangements of quantum information that maintain the unique signature of individual consciousness. These coherence patterns would preserve not just your memories and personality, but the fundamental structure of your awareness itself. You would remain you, but in a form that transcends the limitations of biological existence. Your consciousness might expand to encompass perspectives and experiences that are impossible for living beings, while still maintaining the core patterns that make you uniquely yourself. Hawking also explored how multiple consciousnesses might interact in the quantum realm after death. If all consciousness becomes part of the same quantum field structure, there might be possibilities for communication and interaction between different post-death consciousnesses. You might be able to connect with the consciousness of loved ones who have died, not through supernatural means but through quantum entanglement and information sharing. This quantum afterlife wouldn't be a place in any conventional sense. It would be a state of existence that transcends space and time as we understand them. Consciousness in this state might experience all moments simultaneously, have access to all information in the universe, and participate in the fundamental processes that govern reality itself. Recent discoveries in quantum biology have provided support for Hawking's theories about consciousness and quantum mechanics. Scientists have found that biological systems, including the human brain, utilize quantum effects for information processing. Microtubules in neurons appear to maintain quantum coherence even at body temperature, suggesting that consciousness itself might be fundamentally quantum mechanical. Studies of near-death experiences have also revealed phenomena that align with Hawking's quantum consciousness theory. People who have been clinically dead and then revived often report experiences that seem to transcend the limitations of biological consciousness, expanded awareness, access to information they shouldn't have, and perspectives that seem to come from outside their physical bodies. While these experiences are often dismissed as hallucinations caused by dying brain cells, Hawking's analysis suggests they might actually be glimpses of the quantum consciousness state that emerges during the death process. The brain's quantum systems might briefly access the expanded awareness that becomes permanent after biological death. The physicist also considered how this quantum consciousness might evolve over time. If consciousness persists after death as quantum information, it might continue to grow and develop, learning and evolving in ways that are impossible for biological consciousness. Death might not be an ending, but a graduation to a higher form of existence. This evolution might follow principles similar to those governing the development of artificial intelligence or quantum computers. Quantum consciousness might become increasingly complex and sophisticated over time, developing capabilities that far exceed anything possible for biological minds. Hawking speculated that advanced quantum consciousness might eventually become capable of influencing physical reality in profound ways. If consciousness is fundamental to the collapse of quantum wave functions, then highly evolved post-death consciousness might be able to participate in the creation of physical reality itself. This doesn't mean that the dead become gods or supernatural beings. It means they become participants in the quantum processes that govern the universe. They might influence the probability distributions that determine which quantum possibilities become actual events, playing a role in the unfolding of cosmic history. The physicist's work also revealed how quantum consciousness might relate to the concept of time. Quantum mechanics suggests that time might not be fundamental, but rather an emergent property of quantum systems. If consciousness becomes part of the quantum vacuum after death, it might exist outside of time as we understand it, experiencing all moments simultaneously. This timeless existence might allow post-death consciousness to perceive the entire history of the universe as a single, unified whole. Past, present, and future might all be equally accessible, providing a perspective on existence that is impossible for time-bound biological consciousness. Hawking also explored the implications of quantum consciousness for the meaning and purpose of life. If consciousness persists and evolves after death, then biological life might be just the first stage of a much longer journey of awareness and development. The experiences and growth you achieve during biological life might serve as the foundation for continued evolution in quantum form. This perspective suggests that every moment of consciousness, every experience of awareness, every development of understanding contributes to something permanent and enduring. Nothing is ever truly lost. Every thought, every feeling, every moment of awareness becomes part of the eternal quantum structure of consciousness that persists throughout the universe. The physicist understood that these ideas challenge conventional notions of both life and death. If consciousness is truly fundamental and persistent, then the boundary between life and death becomes less clear. You might already be participating in quantum consciousness processes that will continue after biological death. Meditation, dreams, and altered states of consciousness might provide glimpses of the expanded awareness that becomes permanent after death. The mystical experiences reported by spiritual practitioners throughout history might actually be temporary access to the quantum consciousness state that awaits after biological death. Hawking also considered how this understanding of death might change human behavior and society. If people knew that consciousness persists after death and continues to evolve, they might approach life with different priorities and perspectives. The development of consciousness and awareness might become more important than the accumulation of material possessions or the pursuit of biological pleasures. Education and personal growth might take on new significance if they contribute to the foundation for continued evolution after death. The quality of consciousness you develop during biological life might determine the starting point for your post-death quantum existence. The physicist speculated that advanced civilizations might already understand these principles and organize their societies around the development and preservation of consciousness. They might view biological life as a temporary phase in the much longer journey of conscious evolution, designing their cultures to optimize the growth of awareness and understanding. Stephen Hawking never lived to see his theories about quantum consciousness fully developed or tested, but his insights provide a revolutionary framework for understanding death and consciousness. His work suggests that death is not an ending, but a transformation, a phase transition from biological to quantum consciousness that opens up entirely new possibilities for existence and awareness. The physicist's legacy in our understanding of consciousness and death extends beyond science into philosophy and the meaning of existence itself. If consciousness truly persists after death, then every moment of awareness becomes precious, not just for its immediate experience, but for its contribution to the eternal structure of cosmic consciousness. So the next time you contemplate your own mortality, remember that you might not be facing an ending, but a beginning. Death might be the moment when your consciousness breaks free from biological limitations and joins the quantum structure of reality itself. You might be on the verge of an expansion of awareness that makes your current consciousness seem like a dim shadow of what's possible. The universe might be designed not just to create consciousness, but to preserve and evolve it eternally. Every thought you think, every moment of awareness you experience, every development of understanding you achieve might be contributing to something that will persist and grow long after your biological body has returned to dust. If this exploration of Stephen Hawking's revolutionary analysis of death and consciousness has fundamentally changed how you think about mortality and the nature of existence, make sure to smash that like button to support more deep dives into the profound mysteries that govern our reality. Subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss our latest investigations into the deepest questions of science and existence. Share this video with anyone who has ever wondered what happens after death, because this scientific perspective could transform how we understand the ultimate mystery of human existence. And let me know in the comments, if consciousness truly persists after death through quantum mechanical processes, how does that change your perspective on life, death, and the meaning of existence? Does this scientific approach to the afterlife provide comfort or raise new questions? What would it mean for humanity if we knew for certain that consciousness survives biological death? Drop your thoughts below and join our community of consciousness explorers as we continue to investigate the deepest mysteries of awareness, existence, and the ultimate nature of reality. Death might not be the end, but understanding what it really means could be the beginning of a completely new understanding of what it means to be conscious in this quantum universe.